I wanted to educate you guys right out of the gate because I figured there's a lot. Let me drag this out a little bit because I'm sure you're going to want to see more of this tomato. Look at that look at that vine ripened tomato. Ladies and gentlemen, this is Glenn Beck, for those of you that don't know. And do not hate on Colonel Sanders in my presence just because of this man's choice of location and facial hair. His sunburn seems to have diminished a tad. But the name of this video is 10 politically correct words you must stop using now. Stop it. Stop being politically correct. Stop saying women's with a Y. Stop pronouncing man with air quotes. Stop it. And of course, those are Geronimo's balls. He has a replica. Those are actual size. I don't know what I don't know what this decor is. It's It's New Mexico culturally appropriated demo kitchen. I guess that is it. Oh, my volume's low. Is my volume low? Am I low? Am I low? Is that better? Am I better? Hold on. I'm going to have to find a way to bring this closer to my face. Yes, there's a bit of acoustics in here, but I will do what I... Yes, he is overripe. So shall we?
Information.
Hold on. Go away. I have to do this.
There is a great story that I...
can tell. I'm already excited.
Collecting documentation.
Why is that happening?
In fact, they collected...
Oh, that's weird. Why is it jumping around?
That I read today from the Federalist.
Oh, great. The Federalist, guys. Oh, new patron. Thank you so much.
10 politically correct but false words.
Oh, well, you didn't say that. You just said 10 politically correct words. I just assumed because they were politically correct that they were all false.
You need to stop using right now.
Okay, so you're just basically... Oh, this is Glenn Beck at his most Trumpian, and apparently his just crib your notes from the Federalist. Okay. Well, okay, you can't make me wait that long for. Are we counting down from 10 to 1?
They are changing our language, and
boy.
they are policing it,
No.
and it will become an app. It's only a matter of time.
Hold on, I don't know why that squoze down.
The New York Times, the Washington Post, CNN, CBS, MSNBC, the first word that we need to stop using, the first two words are mainstream media.
Uh-oh.
What that means is that...
Yes, tell me what are we supposed to use lamestream media? Is that now the proper vernacular, Mr. Tomato Head? We will no longer say Mr. Potato Head. It will be Madam Potato.
They reflect mainstream America.
Yeah, they kind of do, though. I mean, also, perhaps as a blanket term, don't include Fox, as mainstream media. I would consider them sort of right-wing fringe media. That dabbles at being liked. But are we talking about Netflix?
And I don't believe they do. They may be coastal media.
Yes, only the CNN and MSNBC and NBC and ABC and CBS and I guess local news and stuff. Those are all just coastal wannabes.
They may express the views of those in California and New York.
Does anybody?
But they do not represent mainstream America.
Why? How so? I mean, because clearly if you look at how Biden's infrastructure plans are polling, how the rescue package is polling, how the general public felt about the George Floyd and the killing and the Chauvin trial that followed.
Big media.
Oh, thank you so much, Susan.
Is what we should. Corporate media is what.
So basically, this is your own 1984ing. This is what we don't call them mainstream media. We want to reframe that using our words to externalize them, even though they are, by all measures, mainstream. We want to call them corporate or big media. The problem is Republicans have always clamored to be both big and corporate. So I'm not quite sure why they think this will help.
But we should call them.
Great, thanks. As opposed to cowboy media? Come on, Glenn. Why is your shirt buttoned all the way to the top with no tie? At least wear a bolo. It will match your blanket outfit. Has he given up Mormonism and just is he trying to join the Navajo Nation? This is just him sucking up?
60 Minutes.
Yeah. Show's really 48 minutes if you don't count commercials. This is bullshit.
Invented a scandal about Ron DeSantis.
Oh, did they?
They edited video for an interview. They haven't really...
Wait a minute. 60 Minutes edits their interviews? Wait a minute. All the interviews they conduct don't fit magically inside 60 Minutes?
Really covered Andrew Cuomo's cover-up of the COVID-19 nursing home.
The nursing homes? Yes, it's very. They did not cover it adequately, according to us.
Russiagate. Notice that we spent how many years? 4 years on Russiagate?
And it all just, we all recognized it as true. Konstantin Kalimnik was actually acting as a courier on behalf of Paul Manafort for Donald Trump to the Russian GRU and back. I don't know why this dipshit is trying to look surprised.
Now nobody seems to be interested in Russiagate. Why?
Because it's not Russiagate. It never was. You guys call it Russiagate because you think the media side of it was a lie.
Why? Because it's been proven to be inaccurate, and they won't even...
No, it isn't. It's actually proving to be more accurate now that Trump and his DOJ heads are out of office so that the truth can come out. Jesus.
Even admit that now.
Why would they? Why would you admit a falsehood, especially if you're mainstream media? I thought admitting falsehoods was literally the job of right-wing fringe media, and I only call you fringe media, Glenn, not because you've got some sort of cool outsider thing, but literally that jacket should have fringe.
Now, the cover-up of Hunter Biden, the laptop story.
Dun, dun, dun! What cover-up? What cover-up?
That's not mainstream. None of these things are mainstream. Stop calling them mainstream media.
It's the mainstream media. They're largely mainstream. I mean, they have the most viewers. People go back to them again and again. Mainstream is not a codification. It doesn't mean always right, I would argue. I mean, it's one of the reasons why they actually have to correct themselves when they are wrong, whereas you can just kind of blow along and and make it up, and just go, I don't know, I wasn't wrong. That was something else.
Media. It's the corporate media or big media.
Okay, good. All right, so everybody got your checklist? Wonderful. Okay, so according to Glenn and the Federalist, which gave him the list, okay, now we call it big media. And you have to make some sort of fist in the air when you do that, or call them corporate media and do that.
The next word.
Oh, okay, I thought there was more.
We have to stop using is gender.
Uh-oh. We have to stop using gender. Is gender a politically correct word? We have to start saying sex, don't we? Are we going to start saying sex? Say sex. Come on. You know you want to. You know you want to.
What we mean is sex.
There you go. Ding! I got it. All right. It's almost as if either they're incredibly predictable and narrow-minded, or I'm just smart. Which both they're not. I'm just saying both could be true.
Words have gender, but people are one sex or another, male or female. That refers to sex.
Please don't refer to sex. Seriously, you're making the entire male population turtle and you're drying eggs everywhere. in the female of the species. Please, Glenn Beck, never say the word sex, because there has been no greater attack on the word sex than it being uttered by you.
Sex is a biological category that reflects a person's physical characteristics and reproductive systems and manifest in certain broad behavioral differences that distinguish men and women.
Well, that's why they started using transgender as opposed to transsexual. Because while you can cosmetically change the genitals, you can't insert a uterus in someone or provide them with working testicles. So transsexual isn't actually accurate. Transgender is. Now, there are trans people who prefer to be called transsexual because they are making a full transition. And there are transgender people who prefer that phrase for themselves. That's kind of up to them. I kind of don't give a shit. It really is about how they, want to present themselves in public and one's own courtesy, not political correctness, but just kind of, being a genuine human in that regard, with someone who's in effectively an inborn form of physical distress because they were, like my analogy about being, born without a limb or ears or something, and then finding out later through prosthesis or other things you can live a normal and full life, and it's not your fault that you were born that way. You just kind of transition into what's a better expression of who you truly are. And if you were born deaf, and then they found a way that through bone conduction they could actually make you hear again, you wouldn't just be forced to identify as deaf beyond the point that you can actually hear. Like, oh, I'm sorry, you can't come in here. This is a concert. We only allow people who can hear. Yes, it's a blue velvet jacket. I do not know when he's going to pull out a ventilator thing and say, "Mommy."
My son was having a hard time arguing with his friends, and I didn't know how to help him
because I didn't know whether they were boys or whether they're girls. So how you argue with a boy is you just punch him in the Jimmy Jims and just move on. And if you're arguing with a girl, you just whop her upside the face and go, "Get in your room."
Until I contacted Dr.
Gender and sex are not a spectrum. Sex is an actual, mutable. It's an immutable characteristic. Gender is fluid and flexible in terms of its descriptive. One is representative of the reality of the circumstance. One is representative of the expression of the circumstance. It doesn't matter. It doesn't. And again, the irony is that the fight over labels has become so strong that this is them pushing back against it.
Deborah So and said, "Okay, how do you win this argument?"
Well, I mean, why would he come to you to win an argument?
You stop using the word gender. It's sex. Part of this is biological. Gender is how you feel. Well, you can feel anything you want.
That is a weird conversation to have with your son and his friends. Boys, you can feel anything you want. Just do it in the shed. I don't want to see it.
But the facts are...
How old is his son that Glenn has to go ask someone a question for his son? He didn't have to go ask him. The Federalist Society said, "Hi, are you a right-winger? Do you have a son? He might have some questions. Please use this checklist to explain life to him."
You're male or female. That leads to the next series of words that we need to stop using.
Okay, so there's subsets. So basically, this is not about gender or sex. Don't get confused. This is about their fixation on gender and sex and why, God, they're trying to fight. I don't even know. How am I supposed to fly to Thailand now?
Sex reassignment surgery. Sex is not assigned.
They don't call it sex reassignment surgery. They call it gender confirmation surgery a lot of times now. So, done. You're welcome.
It's not assigned at birth. It's not assigned during a surgery. It's not assigned. It can't be reassigned if it's never been assigned.
It's kind of like, can you imagine if George Carlin never actually wanted to be funny?
Surgicals or procedures that remove...
The reason, by the way, your driver's license says gender instead of sex on it is because of the objections of the word sex being on the document. Not because it's not more descriptive of the reality. That's true. Like right-wingers and like pearl clutchers all over the country are like, why is sex written on my... Oh! What are you going to do, list my virginity next?
or conceal the outward appearance of a woman or man's reproductive organs should be called what we've always called them in the past, genital mutilation or amputation.
Yeah, but you're not mutilating it. You're reforming it in the same way that if you wore a prosthesis, you wouldn't go, nice fake hand, dickhead. Like, what? Ew. Look how mad he is about it, too. And by the way, just so you know, I take very seriously the importance of the topics that he's dabbling with, and I take very seriously the people, and I believe they should be honored with as much dignity as they deserve as a human being, one-to-one. But in my mocking of, don't confuse my mocking of him with my mocking of the overall themes. I refuse to take this asshole seriously about any of this shit. So I'm not going to play in his ballpark going, oh my God, did you hear what Glenn Beck said? Seriously?
This one I am so sick of.
Oh boy, this gotta hit it. What is it? When people call you a McNugget?
It is so important.
Oh God, this is biggie. Everybody?
It is so important.
Isn't it? Is it so important though?
And I used to mock these people, and I go, I know. But I want you to listen to what the Federalist wrote about this next.
Yeah, guys, listen to the Federalist. By the way, we're 4 minutes in, we've got 3 words. Is he just going to jam the last 7?
Next one. Stop using the word democracy.
Get there. I mean, honestly, why even move forward? Well, of course, stop that disgusting, filthy, politically correct word, democracy. By the way, this is the Federalist Society. They believe that we're a Federalist Republic or some shit, and we're not really a democracy, and democracy's a bunch of crap. So they're obviously going to believe that. But holy shit. I'm sick of this, and I used to go, I know. I used to play footsie with democracy, but we're not a holy shit.
It's a republic.
We're a democratic republic, and we're a democratic republic because you do have one person, one vote. We are a democracy. This is a bunch of word hash bullshit, but it is the root, by the way, of the Democratic Party and the Republican Party. And the Republican Party is and forever shall be the Federalist Party because they believe that the Electoral College is how we choose our rulers and our leaders and not individual votes. And you don't vote for president, you vote for an elector to go tell him. And if the elector knows better than you, then suck it up, Buttercup.
And they go into what Plato wrote about. And
I think they have more understanding of actual Play-Doh than Plato.
I completely forgot about this. When's the last time you read
Play-Doh?
Plato.
All right. I don't know. I read the ingredients. I was like, really? Salt, flour? That's basically it.
The Republic. I need to reread it because listen to the way Plato in the Republic lists democracy.
Let me guess. It's a mistake.
He says democracy is the social structure directly followed by tyranny.
Yeah. Well, they had a different attitude towards the unwashed masses back then. Like they didn't have public schools, for example.
Democracy, according to Plato, comes into being when the poor, winning the victory, put to death some of the other party, drive out others, and grant the rest of the citizens an equal share in both citizenship and offices. That is the constitution of democracy alike, whether it is established by force of arms or by terrorism.
Obviously, what more can you say about the Founding Fathers? That they were a bunch of, in terms of how the king felt about them, bunch of terrorists, I guess.
We have a constitutional republic. The highest law of the land is the U.S. Constitution, to which all public servants are or should be held accountable. The American system is a federal republic, meaning the power is divided between the federal, state, and local governments, all of whom serve as the guarantors of the people's sovereignty and rights. We are the king. We are the king.
Uh-huh. And that's the picture. That's what Glenn Beck wants, is that basically we, the landowners, we, the people with the intrinsic power, can keep the poor and the rabble from having a voice. And we stand between, because we get through our dollars to fund the politicians we want, that we can keep the people we want in power and keep the poor from, through, I guess, the terrorism of voting, from destroying the republic. Seriously.
They are there to protect us
from poor people.
And our rights.
From poor people. And by the way, rights themselves are intrinsically a part of democracy. Heretofore, there were no rights.
Not the other way around.
I honest to God, I wanted to understand what the shit he's talking about, but I mean...
I want you to read this article because I think...
Because you don't have time to finish the rest of it in this 6 minute and 58 second segment. You only got through 3 goddamn words.
I think it is really...
Dumb.
Really...
Dumb.
Well thought out.
As much as they can over the Federalist Society.
And if we're going to be in the fight, there are things that we do have to do.
Yeah, one thing we have to do is apparently fight democracy. By the way, just in case you're concerned at all, Glenn Beck and his ilk will fail. They are a waste of space and time, and this is a bunch of flailing bullshit. And can you imagine the Republicans of the, that were fighting the communists and the, and the Soviet Union and the Cold War and the Nazis have, 30 years later and plus are now like, democracy is the problem. Holy hell.
And being accurate with our language. Look at...
Dude, I don't know why, but he looks like someone washed all the I don't know what it's made of. I was going to all the skin off of a chicken nugget.
How much they are bullying people for language.
They're bullying people for language. And so our revenge is screw democracy.
It clearly is important.
Is it? Because apparently you feel like you want to flush a word that we use to describe our system of government down the toilet.
So why aren't we fighting back on that?
Because you are mentally, spiritually, and morally inequipped to fight any battle of that import? Just a theory.
That.
Why is he staring at me like that?
We lose if we say gender when we actually mean sex.
I don't know. Do you barge in on your wife and go, honey, I think the kids are having gender?
We lose when we say sexual reassignment surgery.
Nobody says sexual reassignment surgery anymore. Seriously, was this written in 1994?
Instead of mutilation or amputation.
I don't know. Are you circumcised? If you are, fuck off.
We lose when...
I don't want to know if Glenn Beck is circumcised. As a circumcised individual who was filleted without representation, I would consider that genital mutilation. I am not for it, and it should end. But they don't give a shit about that. That's normal. That's natural. That's just what you do. It has nothing to do with the wants or needs of the expression of the child or their existence on the planet. It's just like, meh, a little off the end. Can we just...
And we say democracy because that's what the left is using, and they know what the...
Yeah, we use the Plato definition. We'll get them to say democracy when really it's just tyranny by terrorism.
Result of a true democracy is. The average person doesn't.
No, why would they? They live in a true democracy.
But they do. This article.
I wanna gender you up. Let's talk about gender, baby.
Again, you can find at the Federalist top.
Look at these other videos from him. We are becoming China. Fair trial impossible? Yikes.
10 politically correct but factually false words to stop using right now.
Yeah, it's a great article. I mean, thanks. So did they pay you for the segment? Or they went, we have too many readers. How can we drive down readership? I got a good idea. How about we pay Glenn Beck to talk about one of our articles? Yipes. Blaze. Named after, I guess, him lighting his farts. Christ almighty. These guys. Because he only gave us 3 of them, so we need to know what the other ones were. Okay. And, of course, there's a picture of Joe Biden with his fist in the air. I don't know, no word on whether fisting will be one of them. Let's see. Because fists can only be used violently, and it's feminizes the culture to use the phrase fisting in a sexual way. I'm sorry. 1, mainstream media, we saw that one. 2, gender, right, we saw that. 3, sex reassignment surgery. 4, democracy when you mean republic. God damn it. Oh, abortion doctors and abortion clinics. What are we supposed to use? Abortion doctors, whether not to give a woman a abortive remedy. Doctors are obligated to do no harm. Similarly, the clinics call abortionists. Okay. Receive those. We do not call the room in which a prisoner on death row is executed a clinic. Neither should we use the term to describe places. We call abortionists and abortion facilities what they are. I guess they want you to say murderer, but they don't list it. They don't actually say it. Oh wow. Hold on. I have to bring this up. Let's see, can I share this? Yeah. Yeah, so here we go. Where's this? I got to find this article for you real quick. That was in, yeah, that's in Safari. So bring this up. See if I can bring it over here. And I got to... oh, now I have to tell you. Okay, sorry. Federalist. You guys have to see this. Let's see. Politically correct. I have to read words. Yeah, something like that. Okay, here we go. So this is the. I almost feel like I owe you an apology for having to look at this shit. But here's the. This is the whole thing from Glenn Beck. CSL. This might end up being a thing we have to edit together. I don't know, in one clip. But so my apologies. The Federalist. 10 politically correct but factually false words and phrases you should stop using immediately, according to Glenn Beck and the Federalist. And one of them, of course, is fisting. And it was written by Elle Reynolds, who's wonderful. And she's got some great ideas for Tupperware. All right. Mainstream media. We saw that one. Gender when you mean sex. Sex reassignment surgery when you mean gender confirmation surgery, I guess. No, that's not what they mean. All right. Yeah. Democracy when you mean republic. Democracy is evil. This is, by the way, this is that quote he was talking about. Democracy, Plato theorized, comes into being when the poor, winning the victory, put to death some of the other party, drive out others, and grant the rest of the citizens an equal share in both citizenship and offices. Well, if they grant the rest, but they put to death some of the other party and drive out then it's not, I mean, we'll look at that later. Yeah, abortion doctors and abortion clinics when you mean, murderous, villainous, evilly, peoply bad, something like that. Often anti-discrimination policies refer to legal preferences, that's interesting, preferences based on sex, race, society. This is the whole like reverse discrimination, from anti-discrimination laws. Based on sex, race, socioeconomic status. Again, the attack of the poor people. Or some other category. The Brigham and Women's Hospital in Boston, for example, released an anti-racist agenda for medicine. Oh, no, God. That would provide, quote, preferential care based on race for Black and Latino patients. Should we go out on a limb and see if that's indeed? Oh, no, it's their own article. I see. Let's see. According to an article published in the Boston Review, the Brigham and Women's Hospital will offer preferential care based on race in order to ensure race-explicit interventions. Will it now? and the Boston Review, a political and literary forum. An anti-racist agenda for medicine. Colorblind solutions have failed to achieve racial equity. There's that word again that Biden keeps using and keeps ruining their whole thing that equality is really a mask for, upending the world. We need both federal reparations and real institutional accountability. We are experienced physicians, but in the early days of the pandemic, we felt like fresh interns nervously awaiting flood of disease presentations. Deja vu. It seemed disproportionate number of COVID people of color. We asked around. Our colleagues corroborated. The trend was confirmed by data. The experience was doubly jarring, however, because we had a noticeably analogous pattern in hospital admissions 6 years ago. Is when Black and in 2015, some of us wondered why Black and Latino patients with heart failure, our hospital's most common diagnosis, seemingly more likely than white patients to end up on our general medicine service rather than our cardiology service, where patients have better outcomes, along with a more comfortable experience, including private rooms and better amenities. Our effort to, because they pay for it, one would guess. I mean, I think it's a matter of, people pay for better rooms at the hospital, or they have more complete insurance, or they add on to their insurance, so they have insurance, which covers the base price, and then they can upgrade, and that's one of the areas. Okay. After analyzing 10 years of hospital data, we concluded that the trend we observed was painfully robust. White patients at Brigham and Women's Hospital, a prominent, predominantly white Harvard teaching hospital, were indeed more likely to be admitted to the cardiology service. We also found that the discrepancy, like many other racial health inequities, wasn't fully accounted for by insurance status, established links to care, or other medical conditions, or an index reflecting the socioeconomic status of the patient's neighborhood. In a follow-up study, we found that the patient's self-advocacy may play a role in these disparities. White patients were perceived to advocate for cardiology admission more often and more intensely, and providers acknowledged such behavior impacted their decision-making. So most people ask for it. It's my heart, I want to go see a cardiologist. They knew to ask for a referral, or they went for it in some ways. Alarmed by these findings, we sought an immediate solution. We began to advocate for change within our institution. Basically, in that situation where you find out that a lot of people who need the cardiology care, the white patients knew to ask for it, the black patients didn't need to ask for it, so the advocacy on the part of the medical professionals was, well, since the white people don't need to be told they can ask for it, or that they even know this is an option, we're going to proactively tell people, kind of like people who don't know their rights when they're being pulled over versus people who do. We're going to inform them of their rights. And by the way, we're going to let you know, hey, you have these issues. Maybe you might want to see somebody in our car instead of waiting for them to do it, since it didn't seem to be based on insurance or socioeconomic status. It was a matter of perhaps knowing whether or not to ask for it or not, or what status they were in or stage they were in when they came into the hospital. So we're going to help them out. Terrible. I can understand why this horrifying discrimination nonsense started. In another example of discrimination under the name of its opposite, Yale University, listen to me. Yale University unlawfully discriminated against white and Asian students, according to a 2-year Department of Justice investigation. Instead of using the leftist buzzword anti-discrimination to describe these policies, call them legalized preferences, or simply the discrimination that they are. So Yale University tried to admit more black people because they didn't have any in their roles, and there were lawsuits filed by Asian students who felt like they were they lost out to somebody like that. This is and this is just another form of just legalized preference, right? Undocumented immigrant. You're right. I prefer undocumented American when it comes to DACA people, but that's just me. Yeah, see? Undocumented is a term people use when they call breaking immigration laws is illegal. However, most illegal. Okay, we know that. Equity or equality when you mean the other. This is the one they're mad about. They're bearing the lead here a little bit. Equity and equality sound similar, but have widely different implications today. Noah's Webster, okay, then we're going into the Webster definition. Equality is the same degree of dignity or claims as the equality of men in the scale of being and equality of rights. The Declaration of Independence assertion that all men are created equal recognizes this equal value. Equity has traditionally been a common legal term referring to civil remedies. It can also mean the impartial distribution of justice. God forbid. But in the jargon of identity politics, now they're telling us what we mean by it. Equity describes a policy that, quote, recognizes that each person has different circumstances and allocates the exact resources and opportunities needed to reach an equal outcome. See, recognize that each person has different circumstances. Circumstances? What do you mean circumstances? If you come from a neighborhood that's poor, you shouldn't have a poor school. It's not a kid's fault where they were born as an American. That would be the circumstance. Look, if your parents are assholes or if you were born to poor people, you stay poor. Allocates the exact resources and opportunities. Opportunities doesn't solve it for you. Just because you have an opportunity doesn't mean you're going to win. That would be equality, right? Needed to reach an equal outcome. Needed. The opportunities you need to reach an outcome. There's no guarantee you're going to reach an equal outcome. That's what they want you to believe. See the above entry for anti-discrimination. Look at black people before. Cisgender, right, is an unnecessary word that assumes that sex is the result of a human choice. Cisgender man is man, a cisgender woman is woman. Only added there. So it invented the opposite. In the cisgender was invented to represent the opposite of transgender in the 1990s. I think it's a garbage word, but who cares? Pro-choice. You think a lot of people who read the Federalist use the phrase pro-choice? Is a euphemism to get around having to call yourself pro-abortion. Well, if you're pro-abortion, you would advocate for everyone to be having abortions or more abortions instead of the option to have an abortion. But I mean, I may be misreading freedom for these folks, so it's a little hard to say. It's a little one must have a very difficult time with this, as you know. And 1 second, and we'll open up. Why not? My chat went away. There it is. I'll bring it back up. Don't let corporate media, which goes back to the top, and politicians. I mean, I'm surprised they haven't come up with another word for politicians. Yeah. So, pro-forced. Yeah, they're pro-forced pregnancy, I would argue. Yes. Thank you for the 6 p.m. alarm. Thank you guys so much. I got to go.